But do I know anything big about? No, but I know enough to be dangerous, I suppose, about a lot of things.
Well, hey, I didn't either. That's why I did this project.
Cool.
Okay, so you understand the concept of like, you know, it takes resources to make, for instance, like a cheeseburger, right? Like, for instance, you have to give water to the cow that you get the beef from. You have to give food to it, and where does the food come from? Well, it's usually corn, because corn is really, really easy to mass produce, and it's very cheap. Well, how do you get the corn? More water, yes, exactly. So if you throw away 1 pound of beef, how much water do you think that wastes?
15 gallons.
15 gallons?
So I'm going to say 200 gallons.
200 gallons?
3,000.
3,000? 3 gallons?
20.
20 gallons?
Let's shoot for 5.
5 gallons? Okay. So it's actually 6,500 gallons.
Oh.
Yes, it's a lot. You'd be surprised. Yeah, she said 5.
You said 5 gallons? Oh my god.
Hannah said 5 gallons.
As comically incorrect as pretty much everyone's answer was, I started to realize, especially after watching back these interviews so many times, that we really don't know much about food waste. And more importantly, we don't understand exactly what it is that we're wasting whenever we throw away our food.
According to news editor Alan Gerlat's article, Reducing Food Waste, quote, a separate study indicates that 40% of food waste occurs in the home. Still another survey reported that 93% of the respondents admitted to buying foods they never used, end quote. Consumers tend to waste their food due to inefficient shopping practices as well as misconceptions about bad food, alongside a lack of access to resourceful methods like composting.
According to Susan Collins of the Container Recycling Institute, quote, we waste as much as 25% of the food we bring into our houses, and that adds up to about $40 a week in our food bill. Of waste disposed of in landfills, 19% of food is waste. We're victims of our own prosperity, end quote. Americans have grown accustomed to being picky. Because of this, we tend to buy in excess, even buying food we deem healthy just for the sake of buying it.
In cafeterias, schools are required to have each student take a fruit and vegetable, but often students don't eat all of their food. This is the same for milk. Also, many schools think that they are not legally allowed to donate unopened and uneaten food, but this is untrue in most, if not all, school systems. Another issue that causes students to throw away food is the amount of time students have to eat said food. They don't have enough time to eat their food, so what they don't eat gets thrown away.
You want me to come up with a number?
Yes, in gallons.
1 pound of beef.
Yes.
I'm going to say 15 gallons.
15 gallons?
Yes.
Okay, it's actually 6,500 gallons.
I think it's 15 gallons.
What are your thoughts on how we can reduce food waste?
I think being meticulous when it comes to meal planning.
Okay.
Right? I think that's a really important thing to do that I don't do enough of. Be mindful of how you can use all of something, right? So you buy some veg and you discard parts that you're not going to use. Well, hey, dummy, make some stock with that. Compost it. Grow your own veg, for Christ's sake.
So my aunt and uncle, they're extremely affluent, and so they buy a lot of food,
Right.
and they just don't eat it. And then they'll just have a bunch of food in their house, and then it expires, and then they throw it away. I'm just like, so are you not eating this food? So I think people actually need to write down what they eat in a week, and this is an actual week, this is a lineup of a week, and then write down what you eat, and then get that the next week, the same amount of food. So you don't waste any food, and if you do, it's a minute amount, and you can eat that the next week, and just live that way, very sustainable.
All right, so do you know anything about food waste?
It's not good, don't do it.
So we kind of use water as a currency when we're talking about food waste because it's easy to understand and all living things need water.
Like nuts, they take a lot of water to grow.
This is true, yes.
Almonds and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
That's why one of the reasons why they're expensive, but also the drought in California, why the price went up. And I was flabbergasted by how many gallons of water it takes to have one almond.
Yep.
An important thing to know is that there is a big gap in the amount of daily food waste per person reported by the EPA and that reported by the University of Arizona Garbage Project. The EPA reported that we discard less than a pound per day, but the University of Arizona reported that it was 1.3 pounds per day. The U.S. Department of Agriculture also shows higher food waste than the EPA.
Because of waste robotics, citizens can put their organics or food scraps into a green bag and then put that in with other trash. When the truck collects this and brings it to the plant, it is sorted by the waste robotics, avoiding the landfill. This green bag goes to composting and anaerobic digestion sites. In Austin, Texas, there is an organic waste recycling law that requires all restaurants 5,000 square feet and larger to compost food scraps by 2017. This was passed to advance the city's zero waste goal. They want to reduce the amount of trash from the city to landfills by 90% by 2040.
There are multiple policies in California advocating the reduction of food waste, including AB 1826, which requires commercial businesses to recycle organic waste. AB 152 provides a 10% tax credit for California growers donating fruits and vegetables to food banks. Another one is AB 1094, which says that schools can require recycling and composting bins in schools. According to the Harvard Food Law and Policy Clinic, quote, the negative consequences of wasting food extend beyond the environmental impacts and loss of resources that could have been otherwise allocated.
At the same time that we are wasting 40% of our food supply, 1 in 7 Americans suffer from food insecurity.
Pervasive food insecurity remains a challenge, although the abundance produced by our farms and factories provide us with the ability to solve such issues.
There's a growing awareness and well-deserved sense of incredulity about the amount of food we waste while many among us go hungry, end quote.
I read somewhere that every single American could literally cut out over a third of all the food they eat. Just cut it out.
Yeah.
And just say, that's it. We're going to take, this amount of food we eat normally in a day, and we're going to cut out 1/3 of it. And some could even take half and cut that out. I've also heard that the reason we don't do that is because our expectation is for more instead of less. But I think we have to change people's expectations about what's normal.
What can we do about food waste?
You're fat.
Okay. There it is.
Okay.